Okay, well, welcome to this edition. We are going to be looking at the Aston Martin DB1, legendary car, and also I'm a big Aston Martin nerd, so I do love the cars. If you can just give me a second, I've just got to tweet out the links that I've gone live. Okay. Right, just tweeting out. And let's put it on Twitter. And where else do I want to put it? Should we put it on Facebook? And there we go. Hopefully my sound and everything is all okay. We'll just give it a moment. So, if you were with us this weekend, you would have seen us doing an 18-hour challenge in our Aston Martin GT3 TF Sport. We've done really, really well. We raised, was it £300? Over £300. A very big shout out and thank you to TF Sport Aston Martin Racing, who donated quite a generous amount. That was their livery that we were using for this weekend. And we are also very, very big TF Sport fans. So to be sponsored by them and to race in their colours was a big honour for us. And again, to be sponsored by them was an even big honour. So TF Sport, thank you very, very much. Right, okay, we're a couple of minutes in, so let's crack on. So on the screen at the moment, you can see the 1958 Aston Martin DBR1. This is the third specification of it. The original specification came out in 1956, but I don't think it actually raced until 1957. So the Aston Martin DBR1 was a sports racing car built by Aston Martin starting in 1956, intended for the World Sports Car Championship as well as non-championship sports car races at the time. It is most famous as the victor of the 1959 24-hour Le Mans, Aston Martin's only outright victory at the Endurance Classic. It is one of only three sports cars in the 1950s to win both the World Sports Car Championships and Le Mans 24-hour in the same year, the others being Ferrari 375 Plus in 1954 and the Ferrari 250 TR in 1958. In addition, the 6 World Sports Car Championship victories was a record for any car in the 1950s and remained a record in the championship until surpassed by the Ferrari 250 TR. 3 consecutive triumphs in 1959 at the Nürburgring, Le Mans and Taurus Trophy equalled the record set by Ferrari 250 TR with its 3 consecutive victories at the start of the 1958 season. Excuse me. So the category it was racing in was Le Mans Racer Sports Car Racing. Construction by Aston Martin Lagonda Limited. Designer was Ted Cutting. The technical specifications, the chassis was a multi-tubular space frame design. The suspension front was a torsion bar and trailing arms. Suspension rear was de Dion with longitudinal torsion bars and watt linkage. The length was 13 foot 2.5 inches, and that would be 4,026 millimeters. The width was 5 foot 4 inches, which is 1,630 millimeters. The height was only 3 foot 2.5 inches, so that's 978 millimeters. So it weren't that high. It was quite low down. The axle track was 4 foot 3.5 inches, which is 1,308 millimeters. The wheelbase was 7 foot 6 inches, 2,290 millimeters. The engine was an Aston Martin 2,493cc to 2,922cc straight 6 front wheel drive layout. The transmission was a David Brown CG 537 5-speed manual gearbox. Sorry, I made a bit of a hash of that. The weight was only 1,765 pounds, which is 801 kilograms, and the tyres were Avon. The notable entrants were David Brown and the Border Reivers. Notable drivers: Tony Brooks, Reg Parnell, Roy Salvadori, Les Leston, Noel Cunningham, Stuart Lewis Evans, Carroll Shelby. So any of you that have watched the Le Mans 1966 or have any technical knowledge of motor racing full stop will know that Carroll Shelby is a total legend, as well as Sir Sterling Moss, who we have just recently lost. And someone else called Jack Brabham, very, very well known. Maurice Trintignant, what a name. Jack Fairman, Paul Freyer, and the one and only Jim Clark, racing car and Formula One legend. So the debut was in 1956's 24 Hours of Le Mans. It raced 18, including 4 Le Mans, won 9, including Le Mans in 1959, and it had a Constructors' Championship win in 1959 as well. In August 2017, the car DBR1 Series 1 was sold for a world record price for a British-made car in US dollars of $22,555,000. So, following changes to the rules for sports car racing, entrants no longer had to use cars which were road legal or based on road legal cars, such as the Aston Martin DB3S. Therefore, with the ability to create a sports car from a clean slate from 1956, Aston Martin created the DBR1, that's the Mark III. With Ted Cutting as chief designer, the body evolved from the DB3S's shape, featuring a much lower profile. Most notable was the back of the front wheel well, which was no longer left open. Instead, the DBR1 featured full bodywork with a large triangular vent on the side, a design trait which would become standard on all future Aston Martins. The DBR1 was initially fitted with a smaller 2.5, which 2,493cc new all-alloy race engine, very loosely derived from the racing version of the Lagonda Straight 6 engine to comply with that year's Le Mans 24-hour regulations. So if we go to 1958, which this car was, for 1958, DBR1 Series 3 was completed at Aston Martin, had 3 cars with which to compete. The World Sports Car Championship was now restricted to cars of no more than 3 litres, and the team's DBR2 model with its 3.7 litre engine was ineligible. David Brown therefore chose to concentrate the championship with the DBR1, leaving the DBR2 for non-championship races. The team did not enter the opening round in Buenos Aires, which was won by Ferrari, deciding instead to race at the following round in the 12 Hours of Sebring. Neither DBR1 managed to finish, both suffering gearbox failure, although in the hands of Moss it was the fastest car in the race. This was followed by Targa Florio with the new DBR1 Series 3, also suffering a gearbox failure and not finishing, but not before Moss had broken his old lap record, setting the Mercedes 300 SLR by over a minute at the 1,000 kilometres of Nürburgring, where the DBR1 had won the previous year. Aston Martin managed to repeat their victory, with Moss and Jack Brabham's DBR1-3 beating a large contingent of Ferraris and Porsches. Unfortunately, the bad luck returned at Le Mans, with all 3 DBR1s failing to finish again. However, at the season-ending Tourist Trophy, Aston managed a 1-2-3 with Moss and Brooks driving the winning car, DBR1-2, ahead of Salvadori Brabham in DBR1 and Shelby Stewart Lewis Evans in DBR3. However, Ferrari had chosen not to compete, having already won the championship, and the race was only 4-hour duration, and consequently only half points were awarded. This victory allowed Aston Martin to finish second in the Constructors' Championship behind Ferrari. Right, so there is a little bit of the knowledge for you. Let's have a look at the car. So, again, just over 3 foot in height. So that probably wouldn't even come to the top of my leg. It's a very, very, very pretty little thing. So we're going to have a look in there in a minute. Let's have a look at the engine. So this was the all-new alloy. There we go. So that's what your straight six standard Aston Martin DBR1 engine look like. So let's have a look inside. So again, there's your 5-speed gearbox. You've got enough room next to it for someone to come and join you on a nice sort of like Sunday afternoon cruise. I just love the interior of this car. A nice sort of wooden steering wheel. Imagine how that must be if you're doing it like a 6-12 hour race. Imagine what splinters you'd get as well. A nice little mirror in the middle. So there we go. Let's have a there we go. Oh, what's going on here? There. Beautiful sounding car. Right, so what we're going to do is because one of its biggest successes was at Nürburgring, we're going to take it for a couple of laps around the Nürburgring. Kind of see if we can rival Sterling Moss, Jack Brabham, Roy Salvatore, Carroll Shelby. Right, let's go. So we go in there. It's quite exciting to do this. Nice historic car, going on a historic journey, following legends of the time. Right, so we're going Nürburgring. Let's go full Nürburgring. So let's just take it out on its own. Let's go daytime, nighttime, rain. Let's go nighttime. No, daytime even. Right. Okay. Let's where are we? Let's turn off fuel and tyres. Oh, wrong one. Okay, so let's turn off fuel and tyres so we can actually have just a cruise round rather than having to worry about those things. Okay. So this is a little series that I'm planning on doing. Little cars, having a look around them, taking them for a drive around the legendary circuits that, you know, if they've got it on here. The legendary circuits that they reign supreme at. Hang on a second. Is that the full Nordschleife? So race that up. Yep. So 16.5 miles. Okay, here we go. She is an incredibly pretty looking car. Oh, let's get in. Oh, hang on a second. This isn't the Nordschleife. It really is so nice to drive. This is definitely without doubt one of my favourite cars on the game. There we are, into the Michael Schumacher S's. I just love that. Nice fast car. Take that out. Oh no, it is the full Nordschleife. I was starting to worry there. So just the thing, I'm only doing like 33 miles of this. So for these guys to do 1,000 kilometres in this car, I mean, it must have been so uncomfortable. I mean, a lot of the drivers nowadays have booster seats and all these other little luxuries in the car. We've got like drink buttons and all of that they can use. I mean, these guys, what a golden age of race. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not taking anything away from anyone that races nowadays, but to think these guys, you know, this is such a good track to drive. Trying to think whereabouts on here YouTube corner is. There is a corner specifically set up for when people do their laps, because obviously this is an open circuit that you can pay to go. A lot of people maybe watching in Australia or over in the States, this is, you can pay, you can turn up at this circuit, you can pay, and you can take your own car around it. I mean, I've seen things on YouTube, people going up and taking kind of like London taxis around it. They've taken buses, like old London buses around. And so the accessibility of this track is very, 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 very easy. Yeah, Aston Martin have a great race history here, not just with this, also in the GT1 or GT3. They always have a good one. Although Porsche did reign supreme here last year in the ADAC 24 hour, which I did watch. They were just amazing. This was one of the circuits that we were considering doing 6 hours around when we done our charity stream at the weekend. I have no idea why we didn't choose this one. It's honestly such a pleasure just to drive. And the level of detail that like Forza, and in fact so many different games nowadays have actually put out there. yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, even though we've been kind of all locked down and every motorsport's been kind of cancelled this year, the level of digital racing now it's been given such a good platform, because esports was struggling. It was seen as, you know, how is that a sport? A little while ago, I mean, so I even remember laughing at it. I mean, playing this and doing this it's been brilliant. So yeah, it's a bit, you know, laugh at it. It's strange. So to have it now come to a forefront and be as legitimate as normal racing is great. I mean, to anybody that watched like the 24-hour Le Mans this weekend, I mean, that's the only reason that we chose to do our live stream last weekend, because we knew there'd be no Le Mans. And then get it all set up, and then they do a virtual Le Mans, which was truly fantastic. What they've done is they've released like our bits and pieces on YouTube now. So I've gone back, started watching little bits of the hours here and there, and it was truly fantastic. So I think there's now become a place within sport itself for esports motor racing. But it's nice to see that they are putting motor racing back on the roster later on this year. I think we've got a Formula 1 coming up soon. I think August they are doing a short season for the British GT racing. Here comes one of my favourite parts of any racetrack. Here is the carousel. Always good fun. Such a scenic track. Truly is a Sunday afternoon Sunday afternoon drive jobby. It really does have it all. Long straights, technical sections. Let's have another view. There we go. Let's have a look at the side. Stop here. I mean, those spoked wheels, the design is amazing. I mean, the DBR3, like more flare around the front wheel arches. It was bright yellow. Then you've got the iconic triangular vents on the side, which became standard on all racing Aston Martins. So yeah, it's really pretty. So yeah, this is without doubt a legendary car, and totally deserves the recognition and the time I'm putting into doing this. I mean, there are many more cars that I would like to do bits and pieces on. So if anyone has any ideas or any cars that they like or they want covered that I actually have on Forza, I have no problem doing that car for you. So, hope you can hear the engine. Alright. Trying to stay as quiet as I can. I know it doesn't exactly make for great viewing, but just the sound of this car is worth it. There we go. Right, so let's go inside. Love the section. So nice long straight. And I love that. Especially when you use sort of like higher powered cars and you go through there and you're just trying to hang on. Then you still come hammering through here and you've got to brake. Okay. So there we go, lap 1 down. Got 1 more lap to go. Another lap for me to enjoy the DBR1. And thank you very much to those that are watching and giving me their time. Hope that stream is worthy of it. All it is just a celebration of the DBR1. And another reason for me to drive 16.5 miles to the Nordschleife. Taking it a little bit too wide there. Michael Schumacher-esque. Right, so let's stop it. Sound of that engine. But yeah, this is kind of cool. Sitting in the shoes. Oh, sitting in the shoes. Sitting in the seat. Sitting in the car. To Sterling Moss and other greats. It's amazing. This is without doubt a true British gem. And don't worry, not every stream will be Aston Martin, I promise. One that I am planning on doing without doubt though is the 1966 Mark 1 GT40. That will be around, yeah, that'll be around Le Mans. The Shelby Cobra. That'll be another one that I'm planning to do. That one may possibly be Sebring, or I may take that one to Long Beach. Wow, some air there. Give it some welly now. So I may go quiet and concentrate. Back in trying to get out on that corner. Got a little bit too funky on that corner. Let's slow down a bit. Just make sure, yeah. Definitely turn the fuel off. When I've done an endurance race around here a little while ago. I was using the Aston GT3, and I got basically 3 laps a pit stop. So you do 1 lap, 2 laps in, out, a fly-in lap, and then back in the next lap. It was ridiculous. So, but what a beautiful track. Such scenery. Just like Le Mans. I mean, we're kind of lucky. I mean, a lot of our European tracks, Forest, even like Brands Hatch, again, Forest, beautiful. Spa-Francorchamps, again, really Ardennes Forest, and then obviously you've got the Nürburgring, it's the Black Forest, over in Germany. So, I overbaked it. Aye, aye, aye. There you go. Love that view of that mirror. That mirror there. So. Oh, look at that. Done a nice little bit of damage there. Quite pretty. Let's reset the cosmetic damage. There we go. Look at that. Let's take that picture. Look at that. That's pretty. So we'll save that one. Save. Those ones that you see there, I took my other Aston Martin out following Le Mans, and I managed to get a couple of really, really good shots of that one. Twitch 1. Right, we'll keep that one. This is so much fun. I kind of gone from doing like my own like shows on like YouTube to being able to do my own racing shows on Twitch, which I will upload to YouTube. But yeah, so much fun. I mean, even though this is just sort of like a video game version of this car, you can't help drive it if you're doing just like a drive around like this without a smile on your face, because it's just everything. It holds, it sticks, it's got power, it's got everything. And without doubt, the styling, the shape and everything is so much more prettier than a lot of like the modern day manufactured cars. And these are classics, these are class, the golden age of racing. It's like when you kind of look at like the Mercedes, I think it's C190 from the early 90s, 1991, around that time. Again, such an iconic shape, another golden age of racing. I will be doing one on DTM racing at some point. There's been a lot of content put out recently by our friend and fellow Aston Martin racer, Nicky Team. He's been doing a good bit on old DTM racing, which his dad was a big part of and he grew up watching. But again, for me, just to watch that kind of racing, I mean, the way they used to hit some of those curbs, and you know, by right should just break cars, but they weren't. They would race, and they would race hard. And even though modern racing is cool, it's not, to a certain level now, it's more electrical than driver. There's a lot more driving aids and things like that, whereas these were down to driver skill. Every gear shift made a difference, you know. It's just, too well. There we go. So much fun. Look at that. I managed to make up the time and some. There we go. There we go, that was 2 laps of the Nordschleife in the Aston Martin DBR1. What can I say? Beautiful car, stylish, fun to drive, a real classic. So yeah, so I'm planning on doing a series on legendary cars. If there's any cars that you want to see, yeah, I'll cover them quite happily, as long as they've got them on Forza. I forgot it does that. Yeah, so any questions from the chat room or anything? But okay, right, well, that's the end of it. As I say, if there's anything you want covered, any car you want covered, just get in contact with me, make it happen. Alright, so thank you for watching this stream.